to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance.
Hey, Fearless. Welcome to Tactical Tuesday. I'm excited for tonight. We've had so many people asking us. There's been this change in real estate investment over probably the last year or so when markets started going crazy and everything got super, super hot. And we're getting a lot more people that are self-managing. So, that's always been our thing. That's always been what we not only specialize in, but what I'm kind of passionate about, because I know that it almost took me out of the game. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So welcome. Say hi as you jump on. I'm just going to grab into those comments. There we go. From Cape Breton. If anyone has not seen what's going on in Cape Breton right now, you might want to get in touch with Mike or... Oh, there we are. I just lost all my computer screens. But anyways, I'm back with Mike or Melissa. And Melissa, when you comment, I'll throw your name on the screen. But guys, there's a lot going on over there. So as we know, in the Maritimes is kind of going crazy. Hey, Nicolette. Nice to see you, as always. Grant and Corrine, if you guys don't know them, and other people you got to get in touch with. So anyways, seeing Heather, okay, I gotta stop because if I continue, I'm just not gonna stop, right? Anyways, guys, so couple of announcements before we get rolling tonight. Boot camp tonight is the last day for early bird. So early bird, of course, is $37. It is boot camp. Yes, we've revamped it a little bit. What we've mostly done is made more opportunities for, networking and kind of like group sessions, that sort of thing, so that you can get to know people a little bit if you would like. There's no need to, it's not mandatory participation. So if you're that shy person, that's okay. But yeah, that's, we've revamped a lot of the content, but especially the format of it. So if you guys are looking to learn how to properly analyze properties, we're seeing a lot of people coming to us that are not clear on that. So we've actually added a little bit of that into boot camp, which we have not done before. Neighborhoods, a little bit of economics. Again, people that are just a little too new and jumping in a little too quick, because there's a lot of excitement about crazy markets out there right now. So we've added a few things in there, but for those of you who've already taken it and you want that good, enthusiastic, reigniting and revamping and all that kind of stuff, yeah, we're doing all of that. So come and join us, guys. If you haven't had boot camp before, you probably don't know how amazing it is, but maybe you've heard about it. And join us for it. Okay, hang on. Heather's still on my screen. Much as I love you, Heather, I'll take you off. Okay, so there we go. Okay, there's Melissa. So for those of Cape Breton, there we go. So Mike and Melissa are both ignited. So they're out in Cape Breton. And guys, there's a lot going on out there. So if you're looking for a new market, lots of us need a new market because our markets might be overheated. So if that's the case, that's where you're at. These are some really great people to get in touch with that are taking, not only do they live there, they are part of our Ignited program. So they're being coached in exactly how they should go about, and any issues or questions they have that come up, they get to ask us and we help them through. So it's a nice fail safe if you are looking to partner with anybody from that area. All right. So guys, let's roll. Jane, yeah, there's just so many people. Here is the early bird discount code. Okay, so you have to put the coupon code in early bird and it's fearlessinvestors.ca/offers. Okay, so that's where you go for boot camp. Today's the last day. It's going to go up to $67, not 97. It's 67. We had some old advertising up there a little bit, so it is $67 that it's going to go up to. So we will just leave that there with you. Okay, so we are talking about self-management. Why are we doing this? Because probably like never before, we're seeing people having to self-manage. And why is that? Because the markets are hot and prices are high and cash flow is certainly tough. So just show of hands, guys. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a number one. Give me whatever you can. I'm looking in the comments to see who is self-managing. Now, I did a poll in Fearless a couple of weeks ago in prepping for tonight. And the poll told us that most of you are self-managing. And, you know, for many, it's because that can make the difference between a property that's not going to cash flow, a property that's going to, you know, be break even at best, and most probably negative cash flow is what we're seeing across the country in most places. Even the little places are starting to see that kind of stuff. So who is self-managing? There we go. And unfortunately, I don't see everybody's names. Now, Sam, I know Sam is self-managing. He does our Mind Your Own Properties Thursday segment at 1 p.m. Eastern right here in Fearless. And he teaches us some of the stories of how he manages his properties and how he's been doing it for a long time, keeping both his partners happy and his tenants. Trust me, that's not an easy place to be and not an easy thing to do. So if you're wanting that kind of information, just jump in on in Fearless here, Thursdays at 1 p.m. So Sam, Haley, nice to see ya. Okay, so Jane is self-managing. I'm not sure who this is. This is self-managing. Heather, self-managing. Lee, self-managing. Here we go, another self-manager. So you can see how this is really, really a good topic. So Grant and Crean, you know, a lot of people are doing a little bit of both too, right, Nicolette? Angie and Andrew. Hey, Tori. Nice to see you too. Okay, so guys, Karina, so you and Marie are self-managing. If you are self-managing, let me tell you, you are at risk. So I'll just say that really clearly. You guys that are self-managing, and that included us, because for those of you that don't know us, we bought over 100 properties. 52 of those were long-term rentals. We've had them, most of them, for 18 years. And we self-managed or in-house managed for most of that. So yes, I had property assistants. We have a whole other training just on that. People that helped me, but the buck stopped here, okay? The buck stopped with me. So self-managers, did you know? Okay, Tori, I'll ask that question. That's an interesting question for sure. Did you know that you guys are at the biggest risk of hating your lives, hating real estate, leaving too early, getting some cash flow, maybe getting some appreciation, getting in, starting, and then leaving within a couple, 4 to 5 years because it's too taxing on your lifestyle? Number one reason why people leave too early. So what do we do to mitigate that? And like I said at the beginning, for those of you that are just jumping on, we are seeing that across the country because our properties are no longer able to cash flow, especially in areas that have rent controls, where you're buying at one price today. That is a crazy price, but because it was rented out before or whatever it might be, or because you've done these renovations, does not mean that you get to raise those rents. And we're seeing a lot of tight properties. So a lot of people are making up that difference by self-managing and not paying that property manager. That means you are at risk. I love it, Grant. Therapy always helps. Are you kidding me? So that's why we're talking what we're talking about today. Hey, Todd. Nice to see you. Okay, so yeah, Brianna, you guys have been doing awesome stuff with STRs, even with short-term rentals. And it's tough. Now, Tori has an interesting question. How many of you are self-managing from the other side of the country? So Tori has a property in, I believe it's Edmundston, New Brunswick. New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, I think. And properties in BC, and he lives in BC. But how many of you are managing from the other side of the country? And maybe you have joint venture partners on that too, and that's okay, or private lenders, and that's okay. Don't think that that's a bad thing. Sometimes being on the other side of the country keeps us unemotional and keeps us building really strong teams, and that can be great for us too. So how many people are self-managing those properties from across the country? I'm really interested to hear the answer to that. So just, again, a thumbs up, one in the comments if that works for you, but let us know. And Tori, yeah, we'll have to talk about that in laser and see what we got. So guys, if you are self-managing, here's a few things that I've learned along the way. Again, 18 years in, 52 of our 100 properties were long-term holds. Some of those we held for shorter term, still rented them out, sold them when the market said sell. I've probably had thousands of tenants. I should probably stop and count them up, but I wouldn't doubt if it's in the thousands. So how is it? Oh, right, Lee, yeah, you've got properties in Edmonton and you're managing from Victoria. I know Tammy Saunders, she's got properties in Edmonton. She's managing from Kelowna area. So interesting, right? Some are. And here's some things that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about first, how do we screen through our ads? Okay, so our ads are super important. And I'm going to give you just a few tips that save my sanity as well as bring me good tenants. Okay. We're then going to talk about screening, and I'm going to do a role play. So Corey's going to call me and pretend to be a tenant. And I'm going to show you exactly how I screen a tenant, because, and we did pre-discuss, like full disclosure, we pre-discussed a couple of questions I wanted him to for sure ask, like some of those annoying ones that I figured out how to answer properly now without annoyance for one, but also so that I can get my point across without being rude or sarcastic. So we're going to do a role play on that. So for those of you guys that are always asking us for role plays, well, we're going to do it without you having to ask today. So let me see. So we're going to talk about screening, and then we're going to do that role play. And last but not least, we're going to talk about kind of those one-off little things that we've just learned throughout the years make a difference. And it's those things that make a difference that are intangibles. But it's those little things that, I wish I'd known when I'd started. I wish I'd known 3 years in, 5 years, 6 years in even. I wish I'd known some of those things. So that's what we're going to talk about. Sorry, I'm just writing myself a little note here. That's what we're going to talk about. So, ready to roll? Who's ready to roll? Heck yeah. Come on, where's Magneted? Heck yeah. I need the energy tonight. Trust me, I've had a bit of a hard week. So yeah, I need the energy tonight. Bring it in, guys. Okay, so I am going to start. Wahoo! Yeah, thanks. Definitely, I love it. Heck yeah, me. There we go. Yeah, giver. All right, thanks, guys. Definitely need it. Oh, Auntie Pam. I don't know if any of you guys don't know her, Auntie Pam, but Auntie Pam is amazing. Yeah, we love her. Anyways, all right, guys, ready to roll. So ads. First thing to remember about screening is that as a property manager, we are not professional copywriters. We are not even, sometimes proficient with computers. We're not any of that kind of stuff. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to check out your competition. You're going to go online. You're going to type in house for rent or apartment for rent or suite for rent or whatever is the lingo in your area. If I lived in the UK, I would say flat, right? If I live in Western Canada, I might say, or in the prairies, I should say, I might say duplex. If I live in Vancouver or Ontario or BC, I might say semi-detached. Semi-detached or semi-detached? I'm not even sure. But each area has their own lingo. So what's the lingo in your area? You're going to go on Google and you're going to type in whatever it is that and we're going to talk about tenant demographic here. we're going to, oh yeah, I didn't say that one. Sorry, I missed that. That is one of our topics tonight. If your tenant demographic, what are they typing in? And you're going to see what are the top websites that come up, rental websites. For me, it's Rent Faster. Unfortunately, it's Kijiji. I have to be a little more, and I'll give you some tips on that, a little more firm on Kijiji. Facebook Marketplace sometimes is really popular. Craigslist in some places. And sometimes it's smaller things like PadMapper or whatever. Some of the smaller websites that are just kind of popular in certain areas. Okay. So that's what you're going to, oh, look at all this love, guys. Thank you. That's awesome. Hey, Brendan. Yeah, depends on location. Exactly, Grant. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to go in. How do I do this? There we go. You're going to go in, you're going to type in, you're going to find those websites, and that's where you're going to advertise. Okay. So if you are in Bathurst, New Brunswick, or if you're like Colin and Nicole and you're way over there, you're not going to ask somebody in Edmonton to tell you who they advertise with. You're going to find the local people. Okay. So now let's say that we found our top 3 to 5 websites. Are we going to pay for our ads? Yes, we are. Why? Because we're going to get more bang for our buck. If you spend $30 an ad on 4 ads and you're paying $120, believe me, a vacancy is going to cost you much more than that. Okay. So do we pay for ads? Yes. And in our paid ads, do we get better people contacting us? Not better people, wrong word. Do we get more filtered into the type of tenant we're looking for? Absolutely. Okay, so we are paying for ads and we're happy to do so. Do we also do the free ones? Great. But the free ones are going to be more work. The paid ones are not. So let's talk about that. Hey, speak of the devil. Okay, so we are going to use our ads as our first screening. Okay, so what do I mean by screening? I mean, you're filtering out and you're actually trying to get rid of people. Sounds crazy, but listen, your time and your energy is worth so much more. Now, when we filter and screen really strongly in our ads and in our phone calls, which you're going to see a demo of really shortly, we're going to do a replay in a few minutes, a role play in a few minutes. But when we are screening our tenants through our ads and through our phone, we are saving ourselves running around. We are saving ourselves time. We're saving ourselves energy. But most importantly, we're saving ourselves emotion. Because I'll tell you what, right now, if I have to leave my family at the dinner table to head out for a showing and I get to the other side of the city and it's not the person that I want to rent to, or they're not interested in my property, I'm upset. It takes a toll on me emotionally. I don't like it. So I've learned that, yeah, do we sometimes screen out the wrong people and maybe miss some good ones? Probably, I'm sure, here and there. But that's not the majority. The majority of the time, you're going to be screening out those that you need to, and you're going to be preserving not only your time, but your sanity. Okay? So let me see. Hey, Robin. Okay, so what are some things that I put in my ads? I am super clear. Everything bad about the property, I put in there. If it's an unfinished basement, I don't hide it so that they show up and then go, oh, it said basement. I just assumed finished. We're looking for unfinished. Or sorry, we're looking for finished and this is unfinished. I put in there, this is an unfinished basement. I mean, do I word it nicer? I'll say like, woohoo, open for everything that you want to do with it. It can be a playroom, a kids room, a gym, a video game room, a movie theater. It can be whatever you want it to be, right? So you phrase it right. But I say very clearly, I don't say it's a yard. I say it's fenced yard or unfenced yard. Why does that matter? If they have little kids, they probably want a fenced yard. If they don't care. But a fenced yard or unfenced yard makes a huge difference. So do I filter through? Yes. I let them know right up front what they're in for so that I don't have to worry about it. Hey, Cheryl and Simon, Sean. Hey, guys. So be really clear, especially on the things, like we like to highlight all the good parts, right? Which is great. But you also have to, for your own sake, highlight the things that are not the best parts, the things that you know tenant isn't going to want, your tenant demographic. And that might be, like I said, the unfinished basement. It might be that there's no garage. I highlight it. Please note, there's no garage on this property. Especially if I'm in a higher price point, that a lot of the other places around me might have garages, but I know I can get higher still yet. So I'll be in that price point, but there's no garage. I make sure they know that, so they don't show up, waste my time and theirs, and go, oh my goodness, I don't even know how I didn't see that, but there's no garage. Fenced yard, basement, all that stuff, okay? However, some other things that we add in there. We add in no partiers. And yeah, we put that right on our ads. So we say, if you're a partier and you know it, please apply somewhere else, as noise will not be tolerated. Noise complaints will not be tolerated. That's exact words we use. If you're a partier and you know it, please apply somewhere else, as noise complaints will not be tolerated. So for one, what does that do? Those that know that they're going to be noisy, it does move them away. Not all the time, but most of the time. Secondly, it attracts the right person. Because, and we often will even say, this is a very family-oriented community, or this is a, if it's close to the hospital. We had one place that was close to the hospital, so we had a lot of night shift workers. And so we would say, there's a lot of night shift workers in this area. So, and so you profile it. Well, guess what? You attract a lot of people when you filter. You attract the right people. So definitely, if there's something that you need to put in your ad to discourage people, make sure it's also encouraging the ones that you want. Okay. So that's our ads. Okay. Now, here's a couple more things that we do. Now, you're going to hear this live. We're going to role play this in just a couple of minutes. Corey's going to call me. But what we're going to do is we're going to actually say to people, and again, this is for our own sanity. We're going to say, okay, we're going to set a time. Let's say we've pre-screened them, which you'll hear us do, and we like them. And we say, okay, yeah, I'm willing to do a showing for you. So we say to them at that point, this is what I say, can you give me a call or a text 2 hours ahead at this number, just letting me know that you're going to come? Now, they always say, oh, yeah. Oh, no, I'll be there. Yeah, no worries. I'll be there. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, just let me know by call or text 2 hours ahead. And I give them the time. So like if my showing is going to be at 1:30, I'll say, meet me there, make sure to text me by 11:30 that day, just to confirm that you're going to be there. If I don't hear from you, I'll assume something came up and I won't go either. If I don't hear from you, I'll assume something came up and I won't go either. You're setting the precedent that if they don't confirm, there's no appointments. So I have, in a couple of times through the years, had someone call me and be like, oh, hey, here I'm at, 7 o'clock, I'm here. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. You didn't confirm by 5, like I asked you to. And so I didn't think we were on, so I didn't go. Now, we try to get more than one person at each showing anyways. But, and there's lots of reasons for that, but, I have had a couple times that happen, but for the most part, if they don't confirm with you, they're not there. And you don't have to waste your time and your energy going just to see that they aren't there. Love this. I always follow up 1 hour before, so I don't waste my time. And that's great. But let me tell you, I find it a little bit of a better filter, and maybe you're finding differently, to force them. I want someone who's going to pay me the rent that they owe, because they know that they owe it, because the onus is on them, and they are action takers and they take initiative, and they take the initiative to do things. If I have to check with them about the showing, am I going to have to check with them about rent on the 1st of the month, or whatever date your rent day is? So I put the onus on them. And why? Because it's a filter. And yeah, like, can we call them and make sure? And then if we don't get a hold of them, great. Yeah, of course we can. But what if we used it as one more opportunity to filter through and make sure this is the type of person that, understands instructions, listens to instructions, has detail, follows up with what they said they're going to, takes the initiative on things. How we do one thing is how we often do a lot of things. So if they're going to call me with the initiative and say, hey, yeah, you asked me to call you, or text me, you asked me to text, I'm on for 5:30. Remember? Great. I know that they're kind of action takers. Now, am I going to have to chase them for their rent? I don't think so as much, but that's just me. So, hey, Melanie and Angie. Hey. Okay, so that's another filter is 2 hours ahead. Sometimes, depending on the kind of market you're in, when you're in a really hot market, you can say to them, hey, I'll send you an application. Just let me know when that's filled out and we'll set up a time. So if you're talking to somebody that, is really interested in the place, they're going to fill that application out. If they don't do the showing. If they're not motivated enough or interested enough to do the little annoying little steps that you're asking them to do along the way, like confirm 2 hours ahead, like, fill out an application or a pre-application, even whatever you want to call it, whatever systems you have in place, if they're not willing to do those things, they're not interested. Now, can I do that in a market that has, an 8-9% vacancy rate? No. But can I do that in a market that has a 2% vacancy rate? 3%? Absolutely, I can. And I watch how they follow through, because how they follow through beforehand is going to be best behavior. How they are at the showing, how they are on the phone with you is all best behavior. It only goes downhill from there. So, yeah, catch them when they're at their best behavior and see what that best behavior is. All right, so we're going to go into screening. So we're going to talk a little bit about it. Then Corey's going to give me a shout and we're going to screen live. How do we screen? What are the questions that we hear? How do we answer those? How do we get the real version of everything that happened? Corey and I didn't really rehearse. I told him a couple questions that I was going to ask. He told me a couple questions he's going to ask, but we're just going to try and be as normal and as realistic as we can be and just roll with it. So that's what you're going to get to see. So before we talk about that, though, there are a certain demographic that I look for. Now, my ads are written toward that. My staging of the property, if I'm doing any, even if it's just little, are written toward that. I have already chosen my tenant demographic. Okay, so when somebody phones me on the phone, I already know whether or not I'm going to be working with them, using them, whatever, based on how I've predetermined. And here's why. You're going to get a single mom call you and say, I'm leaving my husband, or I've already left, or whatever it might be. I've got 3 small children. I don't have a job. I have really bad credit. I have four dogs, but I'm desperate for this place. I really need it. It's across the street from my kids' daycare. I need to go to school. I need to restart my life. What are you going to say? If you're like me, you might just say yes. You might be tempted to say yes. And I learned the really hard way that I can't say yes. And I learned it over a couple of years and a couple of mistakes. But you can't say yes. If that's not your tenant demographic, and if you're self-managing, you're going to be so stressed out in dealing with their problems become your problems. Sometimes, not always, sometimes. So can you help them out and get them into different programs that you might know of? Yes. But if that's not your tenant demographic, or maybe it is, but if it's not your tenant demographic, it can make real estate investing really tough. So what I do is I set my parameters ahead of time. I know who my tenant is going to be. So is it someone with kids? Great. Is it a family? Great. Is it young children family? Or do I have 2 bedrooms in the basement? And so I know that it's going to be teenage kids, because little kids are too little to go down there. Is it a place that has stairs? Then I'm probably not going to be advertising to anyone over 55, 60, something like that. They're thinking more, I don't want those stairs anymore. So I predetermine in my head, who am I probably going to rent to? My paint color, my, any staging I do, all of those things go into attracting that person, including my ad, my pre-screening in my ad, who I don't want, filters out those that are not in my tenant demographic. It is tricky, right? Hang up. It's really tricky. So what you do is you go in with your set parameters. So this is your tenant demographic. This is how you're going to deal with it. So for me, let's say that I'm dealing with a townhouse it's not high end, it's not low end, and it's in a nice neighborhood, but not a crazy great, neighborhood. But it's in a good, safe, family oriented neighborhood, but it's definitely what we would call like a starter townhome. Okay. So let's say that for me, I know that I want a credit score of 650 or more. I want an income of about 3 times the amount of rent. So if my rent is going to be $1,500, for simplicity's sake, I want $4,500 in income. Why? Because that's 30% of their income. That, for the most part or so the banks say, will enable them to pay the rent on a regular basis without getting into credit card debt or whatever it might be. Still be able to sustain their lifestyle, 30% of their rent. So I set those parameters ahead of time. I set whether or not I want kids in my places, pets in my places. I've had places before where I've, said like, oh, this isn't really a place for, older people. This one lady, and she's like, I love it though. But to walk in the door, you went straight up a steep set of stairs, and then the unit was above another unit. And it was 2 floors as well. Well, guess what? She lasted 6 months and she was like, I need to move. I need to break my lease. I just can't handle this anymore. So I set my parameters, and then I talk to, look for, screen for, put my ads for, everything surrounding that. And what does that do? Is it actually gets rid of emotion. So it takes the emotion off of me. It takes the ability for me to be a bleeding heart out of my hands. And basically, I will even put that in my ads. Minimum credit score of blah, 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 blah. I always put my ads, always. We do credit checks and perhaps criminal record checks, as well as fraud checks. If there's any issues with any of those things, please apply elsewhere. I do that every single time. I've never had an issue with it, but I know some people have said that they get a little bit mad. But how to screen pets? Yes, I absolutely have some tips on that. So let me see, where am I at? Okay, so minimum credit score, that's 2 points away from where I'm at in my outline. Okay, so minimum income. Okay, so set a minimum income of what you, generally speaking, at about 30 to 40%, depending on where you are, of what you feel is good, and tell them that. So just so you know, we'll be looking for an income in about this range, if that's important to you. Quite frankly, for me, income is a whole lot less important than credit score, because I have had, single moms that make $2,000 a month and pay $1,500 of it, not quite, but $1,500 of it, let's say, to their rent. They will pay their rent every single time on time. Whereas I've got, oil guys maybe that will, make $20,000 a month, $15,000 a month, and they're late all the time. It's more habit than it is necessarily income. So for me, that's less important than credit score. Kids, pets, and fees. Okay, so let's talk about this. Any tips on screening pets? Yes, lots. So we allow pets in our properties. So that's kind of a standard. We allow them in our properties. And why is because where we live, we're allowed to charge pet rent. So I can charge, it used to be $100 per dog and $50 per cat. Our market changed. We now charge usually $50 to $75, depending on the size of the dog, for dogs, and then $35 for cats. So I know that in a year's lease, let's say I only have carpet in, the upstairs, or maybe I don't even have carpet, or, maybe it's scratching that's going to happen on the doors or baseboards. I can factor that in and say that I can probably pay for that. Not only that, I'll have less turnover if I take people with pets. So I'm fine with taking pets, but I do have some things that I hold to. So screening pets, they have to be fixed. Okay. I need a vet showing, I need their vet papers. Okay. If they say, oh, I don't even have those anymore. Oh, the vet that did the surgery for you will be able to provide you a copy of them. There's no getting around it. I want to see that paperwork. It is part of the application process. I want to meet the pet. So I want them to bring the pet to the showing. I want to see, does it sit when they say sit? Does it stay when they say stay? Is it rambunctious? Is it all over the place? Does it listen? I love animals, but I know that pets can be extremely damaging. Not only that, there's some breeds that eat drywall. If you can believe it, they actually eat drywall, like they like it. So we had a place where we had chunks of here, let me just take this off for a sec. Chunks of drywall, holes this big, from the corner over and the corner over, because they'd get at the corner and then they could eat around it. And they would literally eat the drywall. So that is one thing. So I definitely do that. Secondly, we charge those pet fees, and the pet fees will deter certain pet owners. There's certain pet, they're like, oh, that's crazy. Oh, I know, you know, and it's as expensive as it is to have pets, but this is part of, you know, what we have to do. Sorry about that. The owners require it. Speaking of that, we're going to get into third partying, but that's part of our third partying is they don't necessarily know that I am the owner. They know that I am one of the owners. So I always have a partner I have to answer to. It could be Corey, my husband, who's also my partner. It could be a joint venture partner. It can be a private lender. It can be anyone. So a really nice way to kind of third party the responsibility and decision making that they think you might have is to say, you know, I do have partners that I need to check on with this, but let me see what I can do about that for you. So it keeps you being a good guy in their books, keeps your relationship good if they ask you for a drop in rent or whatever it might be. But it also keeps you from having to feel the obligation to say yes or whatever it might be. So ferrets eat drywall. Who knew? Yeah, I did not know that either. So, okay, where are we at? Pet fees, screening. So yeah, we always have them bring the pet. We tell them we need to meet the pet. They do have to be fixed, especially if they're male, but they have to be fixed, period. And we do charge pet rent. Now, all of that having been said, what I have learned is, and some people are going to be mad at me for saying this, but pets, owners with higher credit scores we don't seem to have any issues with their pets. It's owners with lower credit scores that we have issues with their pets. So I don't know if that's related at all, but that's just something that so I do not negotiate on them having a pet if their score isn't exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, so let me see here. What am I jumping to here? Okay, so we do have opportunity to be good humans as landlords. I can tell you right now that one of our favorite complexes was one of our worst complexes before. It was one of the hardest to manage. We bought 40 some units and then assigned out another 20 or so out of 200 units in this really rough complex. Now we sat on the board, we there as investors, we turned the whole place around, but at the end of the day, it was a really rough complex. So for me, a lot of things in there were hard to be a good human while running that place because my tenant demographic was really rough. But guess what? I got in touch with the newcomers. I had one person come to see our place that was with the Newcomer Society of Edmonton or something like that. And when I met them and heard about this, I thought, oh, well, let me see if I can get a hold of them again. It was newcomers to Canada that were just starting out. Could I provide really nice places compared to what they could get otherwise? Absolutely. And were they great tenants to stay a really long time? Yes. And was I happy to do that? Absolutely. So for me, that's one way I can be a good human while still guarding my partner's money, my investment, if I have any, in it as a working partner, all of those still be good humans. So it's our opportunity to, but here's some things that will help you to not get involved. And these are kind of the intangibles, okay? So our intangibles are things like walk them over to their car. When they come, you can greet them at their car. You can be waiting at the parking lot or at the street. Or after they leave, this is when I usually do it. I walk them out and I walk with them right up to their car. Now tell me, how do you think I'll get rid of, I'm reading your question, Adrian. How do you think why do you think I'm walking them to their car? Throw it in the chat. Why am I walking to their car? I'm going to give you a minute. In the meantime, I'll answer. Angie, what score do you typically look for in a lower-ish end property? I will go as low as 630, but usually it's 650. But in nice properties, I'm looking for 730. And I know that's a little bit high, but that's what I'm looking for if it's an executive property. There we go. We want to see if the car, yes, we want to see if the car is clean. Find coins. I'm not picking up their coins. No, I'm not. But yeah, see them as, no, Simon, that's just you. You stock them for me. Yeah. What shape is their car in? Exactly. Is it well kept? So for me, how they're, and this is a really bad judge because my car is kind of messy inside. You can ask Corey, but my house isn't, but my car is. So it's not the perfect judge, but it has told me before sometimes, like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know about this. So how people do one thing, there we go. Amy said it. How they take care of their car is indicative of how they take care of their home. It really is, in my experience. So guys, it's little things like that. Adriano, yeah, there you go. You got it. See how they care for their car. So if we have these little things that we do on a regular basis that become habit, the clarity that will come is pretty awesome. Look at their clothes. Do they say they have no pets, but yet they have white fur all over them? But they've said that they have no pets, and you've asked them. Might you want to ask them about that? Or maybe just even just be like, meh, because you can pretty much tell when there's pet hair, right? Were they on time? And if they weren't, did they call and let you know? They don't have to be on time. I don't care. But I do expect that they'll let me know, even if it's 3 minutes before. Hey, just so you know, I'm running late. I'll be there in 5 minutes. If they say I'm going to be there in half an hour, well, I'm probably going to have late rent from you too. So are they on time? Did they confirm in the way that you asked them to confirm? All of these little things, guys, are filters. Okay. So as self-managers, let's go back to this. I want to remind you of why we're talking about this is as self-managers, we are at risk of leaving real estate too early. We are at risk of having it take us out of the game because it's such a job. So if you are self-managing, know that you are in the highest risk category of investors. Okay. So what do we do to contravene those risks is some of the stuff that we're talking about today. So we are going into do our role play right away here. Corey's going to give me a call on my phone, and we are going to do an exact role play of how you can screen when these questions come up. There's a lot of things that we hear that are just interesting. Yes, thank you, Robin. Do they respect you and your time? Because remember, they're probably on their best behavior right now. If they don't respect you and your time now, chances are, as landlord, once they're living in your, $300,000 to $800,000, property, are they going to respect your time? I don't know. Okay, here's Corey. So, you guys ready for a role play? Here we go. Hi there.
Hello.
Hi there, Tiffany speaking.
Yeah, hi. I'm just calling about your place for rent.
Oh, yeah, right on. What can I tell you about it?
Well, I was just wondering if I can come and have a look at it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we can set up a viewing. When are you looking for a place for?
Well, right away, I think. The soonest the better.
Okay. So does that mean you've already given notice to your current landlord, or what's your living arrangement right now?
Right now I'm living with my girlfriend's parents,
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't need to give them notice because they know I'm looking for a place.
Okay, right on. Okay, and how long have you been with them?
A couple months,
Okay,
I would say.
perfect.
Yeah.
So, and do you mind if I ask where you were before that? Just because I'll probably want that as, your previous landlord as a reference.
Oh, well, the place I lived there, but there was like it was really moldy, and yeah. Anyways, it didn't end well with that. The landlord was a real jerk.
Ah, that's too bad.
Yeah.
That's
So I had to leave there because I thought my health was in risk, and so anyways, now I'm living at my girlfriend's parents' place.
gotcha. Okay. And where were you before? Like, how long were you at that one? Sorry, let me ask you that. How long were you there?
I think about 4 months.
Oh, okay, pretty short. Okay, so where were you before that? So 6 months ago from now, where were you?
I was at I had a basement suite, and
Okay.
yeah, it was just, it had a smell to it that I didn't
Mm,
like, but yeah, I was there for a few months before that, so.
okay, gotcha. And you still have the number for that landlord and everything. I'll be able to give them a call and just check on all that.
I might be able to find that.
Okay, perfect. All right, so who would be moving in?
Just me and my girlfriend. Yeah, just me and my girlfriend, and we have like a small dog too.
Oh, okay, cool. Awesome. I think you probably saw in the ad, we do have a pet fee. So our minimum pet fee for pets, or for dogs is $75. Is that okay with you?
Well, actually, I was gonna see if maybe you could do something about that for me.
Oh, okay. So when people move into places with pets, we do have to then keep it as a pet friendly place, like for the next people. And or if we don't, we have to, do like all kinds of allergy stuff just in case, like if kids moved in next that are allergic to pets, that sort of thing. So we do have to keep that charge in place just because there's so much more to it. Plus, I mean,
Yeah.
I have a
Well,
dog myself, but
my
there are
my
damages.
dog is hypoallergenic, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, as definitely as individuals, I totally get that. So is mine actually, but for the safety of someone else moving in, I definitely need to be able to charge that fee so that I have the money to get it back to a non-pet status if I need to after you leave. So yeah, we
Okay.
would be firm on that $75. So is that going to work for you or no?
Well, is there anything you can do about the cost of the rent? I was wondering if that was negotiable at all.
Hmm. Yeah, so I'm sure you probably noticed that because you called me, you probably saw that as a pretty nice place for a decent rent. We are already just below market. We stay just a little bit below market rent. And like, did you see the pictures?
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
looks awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So as you can see, and seeing as that you are calling me, I think you can probably acknowledge that it is a really good bang for your buck. So yeah, we would also be staying firm on the price as well.
Okay.
What kind of dog do you have?
He's like a medium size to small kind of dog.
Medium. Okay, cool. So what breed would that be? Do you know how many pounds and what breed?
I think he's about I don't know, 25 pounds or so. He's a mixed breed. So
Mixed breed. Okay, gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha. And what kind of mixed breed would that be? Do you know?
I think he's got some terrier, and yeah.
Okay. Is he a
Some,
rescue?
is he what?
A rescue?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. So you don't necessarily know. So is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. You got it.
Okay, yeah. So is he a pit bull? Is there pit bull or any of the bully breeds in him? And it's okay if there is. We have no problem with that at all. We actually allow that in our properties. But sometimes we do have to check with the condo board. There might be restrictions. So is he a bully breed?
Well, I think he does have some pit bull in him, but he's a
Oh,
really
okay.
nice dog.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. My cousins have some. They can be beautiful dogs for sure. Okay. So 25 pounds does sound a little bit small though. So it's probably a little bit bigger, right?
Uh, yeah, I haven't actually weighed them, but so I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. No worries. No worries. So we do, as you probably saw in the ad, we do credit checks as well as criminal record checks and fraud checks. So is there anything that I'm going to need to know in any of those departments?
No, I think everything would be well. What do you have to check the credit for?
So we do have a minimum, you do have to have good credit. It doesn't have to be perfect. We understand that, sometimes things happen. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but it does have to be above average. So do you know what your credit score is? Like, do you know how that is for you?
No, I don't. But yeah, I'm just hoping that like I pay most of my stuff on time, and there's been a couple issues that there's been some disagreements and stuff like that. But I always pay stuff on time. So
Gotcha. Okay. So, like in the last 2 years, let's say. So, like again, we understand sometimes things happen, but in the last 2 years, like when I pull your credit, I'll be able to see, if you've paid your credit card on time, or if there's any outstanding judgments against you, or any debts that have gone bad, or any of that kind of stuff. So that's really what I'm looking for. And in the last couple of years, I understand, we grow up. Sometimes we do stupid things when we're young, but in the last couple of years, how are things looking for you? They looking okay there?
yeah, not too bad, I think.
Not too bad. Okay. All right. Well, we do, like I said, we'll do that or that credit check, and it is quite a bit of our application process. So your score does weigh heavily. So, I can send you the application for sure, and I think the charge is about $50 per person to fill it out. So you can certainly do that and then get it back to me. And then if that works out and that's all good and all clear, then then we can for sure make sure to get you in there right away and do a showing for you.
Okay. Well, I was just hoping I could see it, and then before I go and fill anything out, because I don't know who you are or anything like that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And actually the service that I use, like I'm not going to be able to get all that information. I just send you to their website and you put it all in. So it's not like I even see your private information. I just find out, what your credit is like, which is the only part that I really care about, really. So is there any issue with that?
Well, maybe I'll give you a call back.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be great. Okay. All the best.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, seriously, we didn't overly practice that, but that could very well have been a call. So for those of you that have seen this before, at the end of the day, if you say I can't rent to you, you can be in trouble with discrimination laws, you can be in trouble with all kinds of things. But it's really easy to have them, and I didn't even tell Corey, like just say I gotta go or whatever, but you put them in enough of a squeeze that often they will walk away voluntarily. They just don't want to be bothered with you. Now he said bye nicely, which is great. There's a lot of people that say, you know what, you sound like you're just way too strict. I mean, for goodness sakes, I'm a freaking tenant already. You know what? Like, I have rights too. Thanks very much. I'm not going to come look at your place. And we just say thanks. And guess what? That was a little bit of a long phone call usually, quite honestly. And I think it was Simon, you were like, you should be saying goodbye by now. And in a lot of cases, we would have. As soon as they said stuff like, can't remember what he said, but as soon as they say stuff like, no, thanks, I don't want you to do that, I say, oh, okay, well, so sorry. That's part of our process, but all the very best in your search. Goodbye. And we hang up at that point. And they usually go, oh, okay, yeah, okay, bye. Some people go, oh, whatever. And then they hang up. But make it their idea, okay? If they stay out of trouble with any and everything, don't ask people's age, don't ask, any of those other things. And then make it their idea that they just don't like you. And that's why they don't want to deal with you. And they'll hang up on their own. So, yeah, I love role plays because it does show you. I hate doing them because it's a little bit, you never know what's going to come up, especially if you don't rehearse them. But it's true that, that is pretty accurate to how you should be with a tenant, in my opinion. And we have really good luck with tenants because we put them through all of these pre-screening things. And quite honestly, we don't have issues. So hopefully that helped you guys. Couple last things that I just want to talk about is, the discrimination thing, legislation in your area. So some areas do not allow you to charge a pet fee. Some areas do not allow you to charge a pet deposit. So for example, this is crazy, but in Alberta, you're only allowed to charge you're only allowed to charge a refundable deposit of up to 1 month. So that's what we do with our damage deposits, okay? But because of that, if someone wants to leave a pet deposit, sometimes we used to take pet deposit and pet rent, but the pet deposit had to be non-refundable because we weren't allowed to give them back their money because we had already taken a full month's rent as refundable. So the pet deposit had to be non-refundable. Point is, if you're going to be a self-manager, go to your landlord and tenant board. Go to your provincial government. A lot of them have, landlord packets or handbooks or whatever. They might have courses. Go to them. Some of them in Alberta, we have a phone number that we can call and ask them questions. They're a little bit grouchy because they deal with disgruntled tenants and landlords all day, so be nice to them. But we can call a number and say, hey, this is my situation. Do you have any tips for me? What am I supposed to do now? And they will guide you in your rights, both as a tenant and a landlord. So I always give that out to my my tenants as well. Do I allow multiple pets? Yes, I do. Depends again on whether they're fixed or not. It does depend a little bit on the breed. If you can believe it, Chihuahuas are actually one of the most damaging breeds because they do also chew wood, chew baseboards. They're big scratchers, so they can wreck your carpet. They can also wreck your baseboards, that sort of thing. So it does depend a little bit for me. But yeah, sometimes I will. Do I ever lower the pet fee if they have multiple pets, a dog and 2 cats? I will sometimes say two cats for $35. Because yeah, I think cats, but they do have to be fixed, and that's super important, especially if the cat is male. But yeah, I will often say, you know what, if I really like them and I want them. If I don't want them, I don't budge on any of those prices. But if I want them, yeah, I will, Karina, often say to them that it's, 2 for $35 instead or whatever. We have Chihuahuas. I know, and I love Chihuahuas. My whole family has them, and I love them too. But yeah, truth, like the stats say that they're one of the most damaging. So again, there's more to it than just a stat, but there's certain breeds that are more damaging than others. In fact, Great Danes, the massive ones that are taller than I am, they're actually one of the gentlest. They're the one is the easiest. There's some that are damaging because they scratch furniture and wreck furniture, but they don't wreck drywall or wood. So do you care? No. So do your research. But the whole point of this, guys, is as self-managers, we have to be a little bit more diligent because the emotions that it takes to self-manage places for a long time can take us out of the game. So take care of yourself. Put some of these things in place. If you haven't come to our boot camp yet, we're having our boot camp on March 18th is starting, and the 19th is a full day. We'll be talking about all these little things throughout, little things that we've learned along the way, not just in property management, but in, raising capital, getting private lenders, finding JV partners, analyzing properties, all those kinds of things. We're going to be talking about it all in boot camp on March 18, 19, and 21. So the 20th is a Sunday and it is off. So, all right, we are wrapping up here. If you guys, thank you for sticking with me, and yeah, have a great week. We will see you next week. Next week we have a round robin with our Igniteds. So we have a lender situation like we've never seen in 18 years. So lenders are tight. It's tough. Things are different. Our Igniteds have been brilliant in having to, even from what we showed them and taught them and what was the norm even 3-4 years ago is now different. So how are they, doing things differently now to accommodate the new lending, the new restrictions, all the kinds of things that are happening in our lending environment, in structuring their, apartment buildings and properties, all of that stuff. How are they doing it? So we're going to do a round robin next week with some of our Igniteds, and they're going to walk you through how they structure certain things to make sure that they're okay. So where can I get more information about boot camp? Well, oh, you're so welcome, guys. Thanks for all the anxious dogs. I know, hey. So where can I get more information about boot camp? Jules has put it in right here. So just if you scroll up in the comments, just a few comments above yours, you will see the link for boot camp. And again, it's early bird today, ends today. So last chance to get it at $37, then it goes up to $67. All right, guys, have a great week. Igniteds, we will see you over in Laser, and we will see you all next week.